All right, so I do believe that we are live.
Excellent.
It's
I've
funny that
accomplished.
the two of us on the internet. Who would have thunk?
It's a sign that miracles can happen even in June of 2020.
Yeah, I think so. I think so because my sole goal is to. Well, no, I have two goals: to be of service and to not embarrass my mama. Like those are, those are my two goals for being on the internet.
Both worthy pursuits.
Here's hoping.
If nothing else, your mama will appreciate them.
Right, right. Whose whole face I walk around the world with, even down to the gap in my teeth. So,
It's true. I saw it.
yes, you have met her, so you know that I am telling the truth. Okay. So we're a little early for our 12:30 start time. So I'm wondering if we can just hang out here for a minute.
I love it.
Yeah, give people a chance to join us. So, because you know exactly what my interneting is like. Um, I have just clicked on something and, and YouTube opened up, and I was like, wait, no, that's not what I meant to have happen. Anyway. Hi, Naomi. Naomi is here. Thank you for joining us and supporting. Hi, Lisa. We are just giving a few minutes to get settled, and to let people get here. And also, Lisa says we both look wonderful and smart.
Thanks.
Well, hi, Nikki. Um, all right, we have just crossed over into the 3:30 time. So, what do you think about getting this show on the road, Holland?
Let's get into it.
All right. So, because you are kind and thorough and prepared, there are actually show notes, and so I want to start by saying thank you for that because a sister needs an outline.
It's helpful.
It really is. Lisa says she's waving. I'll wave back at you. Hi, Quinora. Hi, Shauna. Thank you so much for coming. I feel so. The first question was going to be, before we get deeply into it, the first question was going to be just a check in. How are you doing in in such a time as this? And I'm really asking. Not like the how are you doing on the way to the elevator? Like I'm asking the ask.
Not the church finding you,
Right.
where nobody stops long enough to hear that there were actual multiple words.
Blessed and highly favored.
Precisely. I can say for me, I am exhausted in more ways than I can count and just kind of over it in a lot of different ways and trying to manage the I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I'm over it. And these are all things that I don't have the direct plug it in fix for. So how to manage not getting just wiped out by the exhausted and over it of it all.
Yeah, I feel that. I like that in my chest. Yes, it is stressful and exhausting, Shauna is saying. I I feel all of that. And I actually feel a bit of fear about my own ability to process all of these feelings. And so I find myself looking for small behaviors to kind of know how I'm doing for true, right? Like I've noticed that I've been biting my fingernails, which is not something that I typically do. I don't.
Put the polish on.
But you know what I mean? Like things like that, like small behaviors that give me an indication of what's going on behind the face. So, I imagine that we are not alone in those feelings, but I think there is a value in calling them out and giving them a name. Hey, Katrina. Our friends came to this. It feels like when your parents show up to your recital. It's like I'm going to see my baby sing.
Hercules, Hercules.
All right. Well, thank you for being all of that and being here.
Ditto.
So what are we talking about?
So we are talking about legacy and how to start creating the papers to preserve that legacy for the people. What it is, how it is, why it is, so that people know who needs it and how to get it done.
Yeah. And I think that it's useful. So tell me how you're feeling about this. I think that it's useful for people to know a little bit about us, who we are, why we are in this work, and how we approach that you just described. So should I just ask you? Who are you, friend? Why are you here?
It is a good question. I just realized maybe I should say my name because we haven't covered that part. So, my name is Allysia Holland. I am an attorney in practice in Oakland, California. I have been practicing here in California for 10 years. And I know. Actually, 11.
Yo.
I thought I was celebrating my 10-year anniversary until one of my good friends told me, no, this is her 10-year, and I was done before her. It's like, oh, okay. Crossed over to 11, and I didn't even know.
Well, there you go.
So I am one half of Dahlia Law Group, and our primary focus areas in practice are legacy and estate planning, probate, and litigation in those areas. Who are you?
Well, I'm curious. My name is Jill. I'm Jill Bates Moore. I'm the other half of Dahlia Law Group. I've been really inspired by the Daughters of campaign from launched by Girl Trek. So shout out to Girl Trek. I am the daughter of Carla and also Ricky. They are the children of Patricia and Barbara, respectively, who are the children of Virginia and Vivian. And so I am that. I am the result of those people, their hopes, fears, and dreams. And that's what is responsible for bringing me into this moment. And I'm calling that out because for me first, this is the work of legacy. The estate planning is a tool for the work, but the work is the work of legacy. And that's why I'm here. That is what attracted me to this work. you know better than anybody that I came to this work from a completely different background, because you were right in that background with me. We're both civil litigation and trial lawyers, and decided that's you. You're the fighter. But decided to make a change, so that we could serve in this particular way. So that's why I'm here, and I'm clear about who you are. But why are you here?
I am here because I love the work of helping people. While fighting is what I started my legal career in, that was very purely a function of when I got out and that it was in the height of the housing crash. And so people fight then. They aren't so much thinking about planning during those times because they're fighting for whatever little bits they have or are trying to protect. When I went to law school, I actually went with this work in mind, and I came at it from a slightly different angle. I came to it from a sales background where I was doing insurance sales and life insurance sales. And so I was already in the business of talking to people about preserving legacy and protecting their people, but I wanted to do it in a way where I actually got to talk to them about it in more of an advisory role, as opposed to a trying to sell them a product role. And so wanting to know what the papers look like and getting into the details and the nitty gritty of it in my Virgo ways is what sent me to law school, of wanting to get into the languaging of it. And then how I fell in love with it in law school was because it involves family story. And so if you spend about 10 minutes talking to me, probably less, you know I've got a story or a connection for everything, whether it's my family or a movie or music or television that I love. And what I love about all is, or even books, and it's the story of it all. And so what I love about this work and is it helps people make sure that their story continues in a way that's meaningful to them.
Yep. Yes. Yes to all of that. And I learned something new about you. I did not know that you went to law school with this work in mind. I know that you focused your studies on some things that are related, but I didn't know that this was top of mind for you. So look at that. You learn something new every day. Why are we doing this? We are two internet grannies who have tried not to be on the internet in any way that is not related to our hobbies or our common hobbies of sewing and our individual hobbies of art and yoga. And I find myself, frankly, a little like trepidatious about being in these internet streets. So, so what's so important? What is so important that Granny had to get in front of a camera to come and talk about it?
What is so important about why great Granny had to get? I feel like grannies know more than me on this. Right. Is that there is so much happening in the world, and because one thing that, like, if you're here right now, then you know this, but there is a global pandemic that has had us sheltered for the last almost 3 months at home. So the entire second quarter hanging out at the house. And at the time that we're recording this, I know that the U.S. death toll is over 100,000 people in that same amount of time, which is daunting. And the realities are that this work is necessary and important even when there is not a global pandemic. And the people that come to us often are either people that have resource education training, something that, or somebody that has at least put a bug in their ear about this, or they read an article, or somebody that they love is gone and they're trying to figure it out, or somebody that they love is gone and something happened and they don't know how or why it happened.
Something
And
happened. Yep.
so they don't know how to approach this. And so why we are doing this in this, we have come out of our granny hidey holes to say, let's talk about this here, is because often what we've run into when we talk to people about it in conversation when they come to meet with us is they don't know how to approach the topic. They don't know that this is something that they need. It applies to other people. They don't have a lot of money, so they don't need to do any of this work, or they are intimidated by not knowing the magic words or the right language to come talk to somebody, or what to say, or who to go to even to do that. And so you can see, we's real folk. I am sitting here in my guest bedroom office room here, and we can be those real people so that you can at least know an entry point into where to begin.
Yeah. Yeah. All of that. And I guess my and one for that would be that there is a great deal of, I will say, overlooking or not realizing the power and the compassion that is inherent in planning well for one's own self, right? It is, you know this, but it has happened twice in my adult life that my family has had, or someone in my family has had to make the gut-wrenching decision about whether or not to discontinue life support. And in both of those instances, I mean, we're talking about people who I love, and wanted to be with me forever. In both of those instances, even being outside of the core circle that had to make those decisions, it was, even for me, being on the perimeter of those decisions, it was soul rocking. And it is different when we know, right? We know what Granny wanted. We know what Uncle wanted, from when we have no idea. It doesn't make it any less difficult, but it does make it different. And so this work is an act of care. It is an act of care, and it's an act of care that our approach starts with the person who is in front of us. So yes, we can plan for the stuff. Yes, we can plan for, who gets what money and what are we going to do about the house. But the first thing that we talk about is you, the one who is sitting right in the chair. So who is planning for you? And oftentimes those people are caregivers. And so the question of who is caring for the caregiver, and how is the caregiver caring for themselves, is a really significant question and approach. So the grannies are on the internet to provide some resources that are accessible, that are as plainly spoken as we are, and that are timely. We thought that that the live stream format was important because so many in this time of sheltering in place, and also shutdowns and curfews due to the outcry speech and the necessary demonstrations that are happening for the protection of Black lives all over the country and frankly globally. Resources that might typically be available or might have been available before may not be. Law libraries have been closed. so programs like Lawyers in the Library, or being able to come and meet with a lawyer for free, just walking in and being able to meet with a lawyer, ask a question. Those things have been less accessible, and so in some ways, this is a proxy for that. The live stream format gives us a proxy for that. It also allows us to talk to people directly in a way that we can't always when we're in the office because work. So, so sorry, my headphones are popping out. Allysia, can you take whatever is next on this lovely outline for us to do while I figure out my headphone situation?
Yeah. So one thing that's important to note is this is not a one-time offering of the Grannies on the Internet. That we will be here t-shirts regularly. Grannies on the Internet. So we will be here regularly to talk through the topics. So we will get into more detail in future visits, talking through some of the elements that become parts of the planning, what they are, what you can include in them, how to use those different tools. We will also be doing some others where we will have some guests coming to talk to us about particular topics, and some crossovers with this work and other areas of the law that sometimes lawyers don't even think of, because some of them were new to me, and so they will be new to a lot of other people where those things cross over, to just really give a wealth of information and tools and resources to people so that you know how to best equip yourself as you go out in this world doing the fight of survival, because right now it does feel like a fight for survival.
Because it is.
Yeah, and hopefully getting from just fighting to survive to even thriving as a goal. So should we talk about something that the people can use right now in today?
Yes. Let's do it. So we mentioned briefly the national and global demonstrations and activism and acting out in protection of Black lives, in service of Black lives, and in defense of Black lives. And we are not, Allysia and I are not out marching. Obviously, you can see that. But even if, or even though one is not out in the streets marching or demonstrating in that way, there is plenty of work that needs to be done in the movement. So there are plenty of ways for people to serve. And so one of the ways that we can serve is by serving those people who are out demonstrating, marching and acting out. And so one of the things that we wanted to give here, and one of the things that we'll always strive to give here, is a tangible something that you can take, that you can do, that you can activate now in service of yourself and in service of others. And so, excuse me. All right. So we want to talk today about a vital tool to have in place before you head out for tonight's demonstration. This is something that you can do right now. It is a durable power of attorney for financial and property decision making. And a durable power of attorney, basically, the basics of it is that it is a contract, essentially, where you authorize someone else who is called an agent. You might also see that person called an attorney in fact, right? But it is somebody to act on your behalf within a certain set of parameters and about a certain set of subjects, and you get to decide what those parameters and those subjects are. We think that that's a vital tool to have before you head out, even tonight, because it authorizes someone, it gives you an opportunity to authorize someone to access your finances, right? Or property, or think a bank account. So if I go out demonstrating tonight, or if I am out after curfew tonight, or goodness, yesterday, I think Los Angeles gave maybe like 40 minutes notice of an escalated curfew. I think they might have sent out notice about 12:30, 12 o'clock, about a curfew that was going to be imposed for 1 o'clock. So it's easy to be out and to be cited or to be arrested. And so if that happens, then having someone who is already authorized to maybe access a bank account, right, to post bail or to post bond or something like that, that might be very useful. And in the event that someone is arrested and held for a more extended period of time, then having someone who is authorized to make other financial arrangements, perhaps for the other financial requirements of life. I don't know. I mean, rent and utilities and internet and phone bills and that sort of thing. So that we think is a super useful tool. That is one that you can action right now. Allysia, do you want to say more about the specifics and the how of that?
I think the other thing that's really useful about this tool is that you can designate the person, but you can also designate an alternate as well.
Yep.
And so when you are thinking about who you want to put in these jobs, if there's somebody that's going to be out with you, that you want to maybe put them as first, but put as somebody else that is not going, so that you can have those people in place. So it gives you kind of, I think of it as plan A, B, and C, so that you have a comprehensive setup of making sure that somebody can help you with these things if it becomes necessary.
Yep. And so I think that tool also gives us a good way to encapsulate what the technical parts of this work are about. And that is about providing well for my own self, for your own self, for y'all's own selves. Yes, I'm from Missouri. We say y'all and them. For y'all and your people and them. To be able to be well provided for and to be directive and clear in your life, even in situations, or especially in situations where you can't speak for yourself. So many states have adopted really simple, straightforward, initial the line and sign sort of forms of powers of attorney. Some states have not, but many states have. California is one of them. We are California lawyers. So we will have the California form in the show notes. We'll give access to that in the show notes as soon as we're done with the recording. And our hope is that by next week, because I think we'll be talking about this more and in more detail next week, that we can have links for all of the states that have simple statutory forms that you can use for this purpose.
Hey friend, what does statutory mean?
Statutory means the legislature of the state has actually codified what counts as an acceptable form of power of attorney. So the language of the power of attorney is actually in the statute. So it really is a matter of cutting and pasting from the statute into a Word document, basically.
And then inserting your information for
Right.
your people.
Yep.
So between now and next week, if you are headed out and you need that and you are in another state, a good place to start is to do a search for a statutory form for your state. And if your state has one, then it'll pull up and you'll be able to get the code section so that you can have it. one of the nice things that about the statutory form is that is what your state has approved to say, if you have these things in the form, that is sufficient for granting a power of attorney. So fill that paper out, do what it says there, and have that in place with the signature and date, and you're well on your way.
Yep. So I am mindful of time. We are at about 30 minutes for this live stream today. I'm going to do a quick check for questions to see if there are any questions, and then I think we'll have to close up for today. In terms of setting expectations for future, it's our goal to not make this burdensome, and so having an accessible tool also means just sort of being efficient in getting in and getting out, and so this will probably be the longest. This will probably be the longest broadcast. Yeah. Our goal is to have them be shorter than this, so you can kind of get in, get the information you need, or get your questions answered, and then to be able to get on with your day. The live streams will be recorded, and they will live on the Dahlia Law Group YouTube page. So we have a question. Lisa is asking if we are able to work with people who don't live in California.
The answer to that is we are California lawyers, and so the laws that we are going to talk about are going to be based in California because that is where we are licensed to practice. Sometimes we will work with people that are in other states in connection with a lawyer that is in the state that they are in, so that everything conforms to the state that that person lives in.
And also so we don't get disbarred.
And that.
Yeah.
And also that, yeah.
So,
there is a newsletter where they contain that, and I never want my name to be anywhere in that newsletter.
I told you at the beginning when we were waiting for people to come on, my 2 goals for being on this internet are to be of service and to not embarrass my mama. I think that getting disbarred would be highly embarrassing to my mama.
Yeah.
Who might actually be
Agreed.
on here. So.
Agreed.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here. We have been nervous to do this for quite a while, and so the moment has just called to us, and hopefully this will be a resource rich and valuable space. So thank you very much. Share with your friends, and we will do our best to cover topics in a way that is useful to people no matter where they are. We obviously can't give legal advice outside of California, but it's our goal for the ideas to be accessible to people wherever they are geographically. At least in the U.S., laws from country to country are very, very different. And also wherever they are in their lives. So.
Yeah. And if you're watching this later and have questions, you can, of course, put those in the comments or on Instagram, and we will do our best to make sure that we cover those questions and topics in future episodes or get a reply.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm Jill, and I will see you next week. Wednesdays at 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern.
Thank you. Be well.
What's your name, friend?
I'm Allysia.
Okay. All right. Bye. Oh, grannies on the internet.